When I was 14 years old, I was the star of the world. I was captain of the basketball team, head of the volleyball team, the star in the musical. I was the most popular in my class. I thought I was all that in a bag of chips. My parents were the head of the church, and I was top dog at church. And then everything crashed. I reached my peak. And then I came out to my parents that I was in love with a girl. Bum, 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 bum. And everything absolutely fell apart. My mom took a Quaalude, gave me a Quaalude,
Cool
and
names.
what's that?
Cool names to the camera.
Marcy. And at midnight, she took me to the family psychologist. What he said was, thank goodness, not that it penetrated my parents' ears, was that there was nothing wrong with me. I actually didn't penetrate my ears either because none of us believed it. And 15 years later, I finally wake up and realize my journey from hell, there's nothing wrong with me. And Holly, some of the crazy aspects of this journey were that I was threatened to lose my car that I had worked to pay for completely, totally, and solely by myself. And I had that car taken away from me because I was gay, or my parents were attempting to fix me from being gay. And then the other thing that they asked me to do, Holly, was to never see her again. And if I saw her again, I would also lose my college education. So, Karen, this is when I became a serial liar. And I began to, I lied to myself. And I would get in relationship with my girlfriend and then get out of my relationship with my girlfriend, trying to go back to my stardom and go back to my prime and go back to the back where I was right before I opened my mouth. And it was like this cyclical journey round and round and round the mulberry bush. And Lee, one of the most powerful, painful, memorable moments I have is when my younger brother found a note in that had fallen out of my pocket and busted me with my parents. It was a love note, and I gave it to and my brother gave it to my mom and dad. And that became his journey of a born again Christian and homophobia. And he took it on even up until the last few years. Wouldn't let me see his first son, who's now 27, and wouldn't let me be be with him. And we had 15 years of active fighting over this. And then on in for the next few years, he actually, held his kids ransom from me. And Marcy, I use that journey as one of my mirror points, one of my keys to mirror, COM, mirror. And I looked at my brother's homophobia as my internalized homophobia. So as long as he was homophobic, I kept looking within to find it in me. And it was just a couple of years ago that he was actually willing to see and be with and allow his current 7-year-old son to be in my presence with my partner at the time. And Holly, I remember celebrating, I have arrived. My born again um, brother is now accepting my partner and accepting my life. And it was amazing. And I'm actually at a point now where I'm doing a process called Be Proud, where I'm inviting other LGBTQ, LMNOP people to do interviews with me and share their greatness and share their journeys and share their triumphs so that other parents, Karen, if and when they potentially may have a lesbian, gay, bi, queer child, they would have something that they could hold their hat on, like have hope that other successful, powerful, amazing leaders that are in the LGBTQ family, that if their child is identifying as one of those people, that they won't be terrified like my mom and dad. And Lee, my dad still, I guess it's now 45 years later, he's still beating the daylights out of himself that he was such an idiot. And he feels so horrible that he was an educated man. He's a doctoral degree. He went to seminary. He was an open person, um, loving, caring, diverse being, created me. And he's still in pain. And about how that whole process worked, I remember one time in particular that was vivid, when my girlfriend and my dad were in the garage and they poked each other in the chest and they said, "We are at war." And I remember standing off to the side, these two people that I absolutely love and adore, and my life is split. My life is just shattered. And Marcy, I remember this last week, I was talking to my dad and I said, you know, you got to be easier on yourself, Dad. I also took me years to clear my own internalized homophobia. And one of the most poetic stories of somebody I've met that I'm getting ready to interview on Be Proud, she and her wife have a son, and the biological father has transitioned into a woman. And their son at 17 was afraid to come out as being gay. Two women, trans father, gay son, everybody's having trouble owning this process. No celebration. No, I'm trying to turn my son gay. Instead, when I talked to the biological mother, she said, "I'm terrified for my son." So part of my journey, Holly, is to bring this story to heteronormal parents that may or may not have heteronormal children, but hoping and praying that I can bring some relief and some celebration and less pain in people just getting to be themselves. And Karen, one of the aspects to this process is the importance. We all have moments where we're in the closet. We all have moments where we're hiding out and not accepting some aspect of ourselves. Maybe we were sexually molested as a child. Maybe we are, I mean, everybody has their own. I mean, I could go on and on and on about the different processes. My whole life passion is to bring this unity for all of us, Lee, to get to step into our greatest, grandest version of ourselves without having to go through the pain of first thinking that we are shamed, we are blamed, and we are wounded exactly as we are. So that's my double dog dare for the world, is to bring the light to each and every one of us. Thank you.
Thank you, Beth.
Thank you, Beth.
How was that for you, Beth?
I was it was fun. It was awesome. I my super 7-year-old Lee is like, what am I doing? Where am I supposed to go? I didn't do anything that I did last time. And then I came back to just be with the process, let come up what comes up. And so I had a little bit of that going on in my head.
Sure, sure. I'm going to give you a little feedback and appreciation, and everybody has a chance to say a few words.
Yes.
You have all the elements of as good a story as anybody ever had for holding forth in front of groups of any size. You have all the elements. Your challenge is how do you frame it in a way that works for the
Yes.
audience? And I've got some ideas about that we'll talk about later.
I
But
love
you've
it.
got everything, yeah. Okay. Who else? Raise your hand and yes, Karen.
As an audience member, I appreciate your how vibrant you are. You have a powerful way about you and a relatable way. And so I agree with Lee. You have all of the components to be an effective, powerful speaker. And so that's really all you need. And I think to make it even better, it would just be, what is my message? What am I sharing? And what are the takeaways for them? So I think you have it all. Like I would tune in and listen to you speaking on multiple topics because your conviction is really palpable. You have a conviction about you. You believe in this, and I feel it. And then I'm like, I'm in.
Thank you, Karen. Thank
Great.
you.
Marcy.
Beth, I loved the change in the story, the nuances that you brought in. I thought that was really good to give us more depth of what you went through, which is powerful. And I think that everyone needs to hear it because I'm sure they have their own stories. I love too the work that you're doing to pay it forward. I loved adding that into it. And I guess one piece of feedback would just be in that I know you started going compassion. I almost think we need a intro to compassion, and I don't know how that fits in. I don't want to take away, but all of us know the letters, but maybe a new audience wouldn't know that.
Right.
So weaving that in somehow into your story would be even better than it is now.
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you.
Holly, you're mute.
Yeah, Dr. Beth, I've heard your story a lot of times, but I haven't heard it the 10-minute version. And the way you did it was really impactful. And I think, like, especially a new person, even me listening, like it in the more concise version, like you got to the point and it at the end, we were all like rooting for you. So yeah, good job.
Thank you.
All right. Thank you, Holly. Thank you all. We'll take a palate cleansing few breaths before I call on Marcy. So remember, Marcy, a breath when I start you, and then to me on the screen, first sentence to get us into the scene, and then another breath, and then start calling other names. So 10 minutes with Marcy, starting now.
was an ambitious 30-year-old pregnant female in the corporate world trying to drive my way into success. And when my daughter was born, my heart exploded. I had no idea I could love this little human so much. And my life changed. So Beth, when she was born, my priorities shifted. All of a sudden, all I wanted to do is be around her and love her and care for her and play with her. Work, I only wanted to do when I had to. And we navigated life through that balance for a while. And then through the toddler years, all of a sudden, something shifted. My little angel started having a voice. And so all of a sudden, one morning, we were in the bathroom getting ready like we always do. And she pulled the brush away from my hand and said, "No, Mom, I do it," and threw the brush across the bathroom. She proceeded to jump down off of her stool and walked into the bedroom where we had perfectly matched clothes picked out for her day in preschool. She threw all the clothes across the floor and said, "Nope, I'm picking out my outfit." She proceeded to dress in the most unmatchable outfit I've ever seen. She went into the bathroom, grabbed a barrette, threw it in her hair, and walked out with this confidence. We somehow made it through breakfast all the way into the car on our way to preschool, where she proceeded to walk down the hallway, eyes turning from her clickety-clack dress-up shoes she wore, and her Dora Explorer backpack, ready to learn about preschool. And so, Holly, it was all I could do to keep the tears from falling. I was a mess inside. I kissed her goodbye. I handed the teacher some more practical shoes and turned around and left and started bawling, and all I could do was get in the car until the tears could really just fall. And I said, "What is going on? What am I going to do?" I thought I had many more years before I dealt with this. Like, isn't this supposed to happen when she's 13, not 4? And so, Karen, I clearly thought I was doing something wrong. And luckily, I had help in my phone. I called for reinforcements with my friend, Dr. Beth, who happened to be a clinical psychologist specializing in defiance. And I always thought it was just teenage defiance when her and I would talk. And I called her and I said, "Dr. Beth, what is going on? I'm doing something wrong in my parenting. This is not how it's supposed to work." And Beth, being who she is, playful and fun, said, "What is going on? You got to tell me." And I proceeded to explain what was happening. And she laughed and said, "Well, tell me how you feel about that." And Lee, of course, I was like, "I'm frustrated. I don't know what's going on. My world is turning upside down. All of my rules are not being followed. It feels very chaotic." And she said, "Okay, well, how is Maddie doing?" And I said, "Well, the strangest thing is the minute I let her take the lead, I let her brush her hair or pick out her outfits and, make her way. It was amazing the confidence that she walked down the hallway into preschool with. It was amazing how assured she was at the whole dynamics of this." And I said, "If I'm being honest, that confidence that I saw in her was confidence I wish I had. And really, I'm mortified at the embarrassment and the judgment I might feel of being a mom and letting my child act and look and dress the way that she did, because I have it all put together. Why shouldn't she? Why shouldn't she just be this copy of me? And Beth, that's when the fun began. And you said, oh, wow, that is so cool to have that experience. And do you realize that you're raising a confident child at 4 years old already? Imagine what she could do if you and I work together in this compassionate parenting world to learn how we can hold each other, hold our kids, hold us as adults and other parents with this confidence and authenticity, and kind of making a mess and figuring it out as we go, as we navigate these compassionate parenting concepts. What could be possible? You want to play? And honestly, scared and at my wit's end, I said, sure, I have nothing else to do and nothing else to lose and hopefully more to gain. And that began our long journey, but fun journey into parenting in a way that didn't make always sense, but in my heart and in my gut and in my intuition and watching my daughter grow, it was right. It was true. It was powerful and loving. And Holly, I can say now, my daughter is 18 years old and she still has vibrance and confidence. She's navigating her way, and I can say that even though we went through the teenage years, it was a confident dance. It was a dance that we navigated together, and we're best friends. She calls me daily, and these skills, she's been my example of how they pay off. She's even coaching me on how to be a better mom, a better sister, a better daughter, a better wife. And she's excited about how she can grow and lead in this world, how she gets to make her mark, being authentic and being true to herself, and navigating all of, the common insecurities we all have. And so, Karen, I think I'm finally ready to share with the world how much this compassionate parenting has shifted my world, shifted my daughter's world, and how I hope to shift anyone who's ready and willing to try this journey that might in the world seem counterintuitive. But when you meditate or when you search for the truth, you start hearing and you start understanding that all of these concepts are true. They're so unique to all of us, yet so common in the compassion that we can come together in. And really, the greatest thing that we can all share is the love that we have for both ourselves and for the people we're raising. And so, Lee, I'm asking everyone who is maybe stuck in their parenting or stuck in their life right now, if you're looking for a way to bring more love to yourself and those that are in your inner circle and sharing it again to your outer circle, try these concepts. They're true, they're powerful, and they're what the world needs what our kids need to lead in this world and change it with compassion. Thank you.
Thank you, Marcy.
Thank you, Marcy.
Ah, Marcy, I'll just say 2 words. Oh, irresistible wisdom.
Thank you.
Karen.
Marcy, you have such an ability to be authentic. I believe you. I feel like you're so friendly and caring, and I just trust you like immediately.
Mhm.
And when you say, just trust me that these concepts work, this way of parenting works, I trust you. You
Thank
have
you.
such passion for this, and it shows, and you're clearly showing how it's worked in your life. So I feel like with this message, you can reach millions of people who desperately need it. Thank you.
Marcy. I am so grateful that we met, and I am so grateful that Maddie has you as her mom, and that you were willing to cultivate that little angel and that little next world leader kid instead of squelch that little angel and that little next world leader kid. I am so inspired by your inner work, and I'm not easy on you. And I'm just so inspired by your willingness to laugh at yourself and grow and role model for your kid. And it's just an honor to have you um, being a part of my Dr. Beth team. I just love it. Absolutely love it, and love you.
Your story, it made me want to know more about you and your daughter. I want to know what's next for both of you, and how more of the journey. I just want to know more. So thank you for sharing the tip of the iceberg.
Thank you. Thank you. I don't know if I can get through these without crying my eyes out.
Why should you get through them without crying your eyes out?
No,
It's
part of it's part of what we love about you.
If you cry in front of a group out of reality, out of where you are, it gives them permission to feel their tears. So don't ever not go there. Okay. Karen, you know how we do this. Breath, first sentence, breath with me, and then names.
Okay. I'd like to
And
use this time more for exploring,
sure.
as my goal is to learn how to speak more impromptu.
Mhm.
Rather, right now I'm feeling that egg yolk story I had last week is so powerful, but I'm feeling like I want to be able to speak, like you said, impromptu, and go on a YouTube and just talk about it
Great.
this morning.
Well, do anything from prompt you want, but somehow start with that format in some way, whatever you say. 10 minutes with Karen, starting with the breath starting now.
My husband says to me last night at tuck-in time, be the change you want to see in the world. Marcy, this is after I yell, can't we just get one peaceful tuck-in? My daughters both start crying. Mommy! Dr. Beth, My 7-year-old daughter, Daniela, says I'm on her top bunk bed. That was mean, Mommy. That was mean. Can't we just get a peaceful night? I said, yeah, please. Just one peaceful tuck in. Holly, I'm saying this as I know full well in my head that my only intention in life is to be loving and kind and hold space for my daughter's emotions. And they are highly emotional at bedtime. That is the time where it's fun and games and then tuck in time and let the waterworks go nuts. And Lee, it is my time at tuck-in where I feel like I've had a day full of work, full of being on as a mom and being that loving container that holds all of their emotions. So it's their emotional time and it's my emotional time. And Marcy, I know I'm still supposed to be that mom that holds their emotions. And internally, I feel like I'm at war because I'm feeling all the anxiety of, oh my gosh, this is going to be an hour and I just need a break from today. And so I react. Last night I reacted. And I know this. And so what do? Dr. Beth, I would repair. I'm sorry. That was not the right way to say that. I'm feeling frustrated because there's crying and there's screaming and I just want peace right now. That wasn't the way to react because I know that you're tired and I didn't mean to, and I love you. And Holly, I'm not perfect and I make mistakes. The next thing I think is how many parents out there are at tuck-in time right now who don't know that it's them who think it's their kids and continue to think it's their kids. And not only do they say, can't we get a peaceful night? But they abuse their children and they keep yelling at their children and they leave the room and don't tuck them in. And they say, you're terrible and you're bad child. And they don't stop at the one sentence. Marcy, they keep going and going and going because they have no idea that it's their reaction. It's not about their child. They think it's their child being a bad kid. They don't realize it's their own reaction. But they don't have to react to their child, no matter how anxious they feel inside. They don't know. Can we blame them, Dr. Beth? Can we blame those parents, honestly, for abusing their children and yelling at their children? Do they know any better? I didn't. I didn't know. I thought, Holly, when I had children, that their behavior was, I just needed to discipline their behavior. I didn't actually know that I have a reaction to every single thing they do, and it's about me. And if I'm reacting, that means that I need to expand. I need to get bigger. I need to grow so that I can tolerate their feelings and be there for them. Not do what my parents did. Just shut me out, push me down, and belittle me. Lee, it's not about the kids, it's about the parents. And I don't mean that in a way to punish parents or tell them they're doing something wrong. I mean that in a way to explore and be curious about how we as parents can grow so that we can be the parents we want to be and raise children who feel like they're worthy of existing, of being alive, of being who they are. Marcy. To be my child's friend, and to have the relationship I want where they're calling me every day when they're in their 20s, means that I need to learn about myself. So Dr. Beth, let's go on a mission to help parents learn how to reparent themselves with love and compassion and acceptance in the way that we were never taught. That's the next step. We're not changing kids. We're changing ourselves. Thank you.
Thank you, Karen. You stopped before your time was done, but I think you knew you were done, right? A good sense of completion. How was that for you?
It was great in the sense that I am learning to connect with what I'm saying rather than have it be automatic. I actually want to feel it. I feel like that's effective.
Yes,
And that's how I'm going to be able to connect with others.
yes, great. Holly, you had your hand up. You go.
Yeah, I could feel you feeling it, which made me feel it more. And I could really relate to that. I'm not a parent, but I was thinking about how I was parented. So that's how I was really, I think it's like a universal thing. So thank you for sharing.
Thank you, Holly. Marcy.
Wow, Karen, that was amazing. You brought me into a whole new world, and what a huge gift to give other parents that wake up that, oh wait, hold on. Parenting is about us and how we interact with these littles throughout their whole life. And I think you're gonna, with that message, you'll bring in the adults that aren't parents, but that have kids that are in their influence, and give them a new perspective of how they can also influence the people around them, the kids around them. I loved it. Thank you.
Thank you, Marcy. Dr. Beth.
One of the aspects that I loved about it, Karen, was you really walked a tightrope wire of the parents have the opportunity without being shamed. I just felt like you walked that line really beautifully, carefully, and with so much inspiration. So I love that, and I felt so connected with your with you feeling it. It felt like you were really coming from the deepest part of your soul. And it was beautiful.
Thank you, Dr. Beth.
Hmm. Yeah, your emotional intelligence is way up there in your speaking, Karen. And I see you as an expert in a very specific aspect of parenting, repairing. You really have a sense of repairing. In the story you just told, you had to repair after you acted out. In your egg yolk story, you do the repairing before you act out, right? But we could feel what you would be doing if you hadn't figured it out. A lot of your stories, you figure it out. Other of your stories, you have to repair. But I think it's all about repairing, whether within yourself or out loud. And that's could be your major topic. Beth?
I wanted to say one more thing. I also, when you said you were talking to me and you said we need to get this out in the world, I'm like, let's go, Karen. I'm like, I'm in, let's do it. And the other thing that I was really present to was how many ideas I have for nighttime tuck-in time. I love tuck-in time.
Tuck-in time.
I haven't heard of tuck-in time, but I've heard it as the bewitching hour. And you know, all parents can totally relate to tuck-in time. So I love that. I love that aspect of it as well. And let's do it. Yes, yes, yes. Come on.
Yeah, I'd love to hear your advice on tuck-in time when I'm feeling like it's tuck-in time for me too.
Yes.
Well, I heard the same thing when I heard tuck-in time. I said, that's the name of a book. I mean, tuck-in time, yeah, parent, that's a topic, that's a talk, tuck-in time.
Yep.
You can include other.
And a song, tuck-in time, tuck-in time,
Tuck-in
tuck-in time, tuck-in time. No
That's your-
reason they're gonna run. No, tuck-in time.
That's your job, Dr. Beth, is to write that song or do it without writing it.
Yes.
Listen, I figured something out in the course of this. The art of doing a talk is very specific. I wonder if I ever sent you chapters I've written about opening a talk and structuring a talk. Have I?
Yes.
Okay.
A couple of weeks ago,
Okay,
but
I'm
I've
gonna
slept
send-
since then.
Yes, I'm going to send them because here's what I want to work on next time. I do want to refine something, and it's your first 3 to 5 minutes. I want you to know what the first 3 to 5 minutes of a talk wants to be, because you want to answer, you want the audience to know certain things. They need to know certain things so that they can relax and receive your great ideas. And it takes a story and why I'm telling it and why I'm here and what we're going to do. It's really something you need to learn to be the effective TED talker. And it goes, I'm going to be tough on you because it goes against some of your feelings of you're supposed to just be able to talk. No, you can't. They'll be lost. They'll be lost in your space, out of your space, no matter how brilliant you are. And I want to work with each of you in writing a script for your first 3 to 5 minutes. There's another thing. I want you to start in the action. And I figured this out, Dr. Beth. Your story wants to begin. How old were you when you came home and told your parents?
14.
It wants to be after breath. When I was 14, I came home from school and told my parents I was in love with a girl. That's the beginning of a talk. Then you can do.
I was the head of the captain of the basketball team.
Then
Okay.
later, that you go back in time and lead up to it. That's what we want. The first scene for you, Marcy, wants to be the brush scene, and then you can go back. But I want them to see that like it's a movie, you know.
Okay.
And well, and Karen, for your egg yolk moment, you've nailed the opening line.
Do you
So
remember what
that's-
that is?
Go ahead. Something about, actually, when you told it first, it was this morning. I was getting ready. I had come out of the shower. Let me see if I can give it to you, if I remember, because I've heard it a few times. I come out of the shower, ready to go to work, and I'm all dressed up, and suddenly I feel on my back something slimy, and it's my daughter with egg yolk in her hands. rubbing my shoulders. That's a little long, but you condense that a little more, but you get it. I want people to see the scene. And when you go from there, it'll be explained in what I'm going to be sending you in a few different articles. That's how I want to work with you guys, is to, because if you don't nail that first 3 to 5 minutes with something pretty scripted, the rest is not, it's not worth going into what the rest of it's going to be at this point. So
Got it.
I'll be in touch with you by email. We can figure it out. You send stuff to me, I'll help edit it and send suggestions back.
I love
Great.
it. I love it. I love it. Lee, what do you think? I'm also in the process of putting together a 1 hour signature talk so
Mhm,
that I can invite people into my Own Your Story so your story doesn't
Mhm.
own you.
mhm,
And I
mhm.
have a group that's coming up at the end of the month and it's going to be Own Your Story around health and your body. I have one on Own Your Story around your relationship, one Own Your Story around parenting, and Own Your Story around your money and your finances. So the one I'm going to do first is your body and your health. And so I want this whole signature talk. I'd love to have this TED talk be something that goes into my 1 hour signature talk.
Yeah,
But the signature talk I want to be on the inner family. And I don't know if I need to bring in the inner family into this story.
it'll probably be a different story. But the point is, when you get the knack of what's called for in that opening sentence and the opening story, then you'll have the basis for using other stories in the same kind of format.
Okay. Oh, we're having a really big storm here and it's knocking
I
the
saw I saw
electricity off.
a little flash. I thought that was you.
Yeah. Yeah, I'm flashing.
I got a tornado warning.
Hey, when I did send that, was it one article I sent or more? You remember?
It was a page or two from your book.
Just a page or two. Marcy, you got that too? Okay, I'm going to send a few chapters because there's other pieces to it that I want you to look at. Okay,
Okay.
great. And Holly, if you want to see that, you can send me your email.
Sure, I'll get your contact from Dr.
Yeah,
Yeah.
okay. Hey,
I'll
Holly,
introduce you guys.
good, thank you. Good to
Thank you.
meet you, Holly. Thank you, Marcy. Thank you, Dr. Beth. Thank you,
When-
Karen.
When are we regrouping, Lee?
Let's do it by email, and it will only be after we get a few things accomplished.
Okay.
Okay?
Perfect.
You
All
do
right.
your homework and we'll meet again.
Sounds good.
Bye.
Okay, bye.